Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Tonight, I think I'm going to be talking a little bit about a question that was put to me from a few of the younger friends. And the question is they want me to explain a little bit more about meditation and what it is good for, why we should do it. And some may think, in the questions brought this up, that they have been sort of been hinted on that whoever does meditation, it belongs to some kind of a cult or something like that. And my purpose tonight is to introduce you to meditation, and not one kind of meditation, because we're not going to be going into actually doing a meditation tonight, whether it's the style that I've learned and I researched, or a style that I have devised over the years, because I have been a student of Aikido with mind and body coordination for years since university time, and a big major component of that whole art was to understand the relationship between mind and the body, and the understanding of the relationship between our energy and the universal energy, nature's energy, and what it is good for, and how we can enhance our capabilities, and why we should do it, and what are the benefits, and so on and so forth. And of course, it would go on and use this same power in self-defense techniques, which that is a different story by itself. So tonight I want to explain to you about the general idea of and the benefits of meditation, not the kind that I was used to or I have devised through my years of learning and teaching and meditation and practice and research, which has been since age of 19, which is about 39 years. Wow, gee, I'm pretty old. So, so we will not be talking about a particular style, because there's so many out there, and many of them are just wonderful. It depends on what you feel comfortable with, and what you happen to understand better, and what you happen to prefer. So our intention tonight is not to encourage you toward one certain kind of meditation. It's to encourage you, or at least inform you, give you enough things to ponder on about meditation in general, and why and what I think about meditation, and why I do it, and why I think that everyone should do it. Whether they will or not, that's your decision. First of all, meditation has nothing to do with being in a cult or something. I know it is a legitimate question for some of you, depending on who has been instilling these sort of thinking in you, and what their motivation was, and or the angle was, whether they meant well in their own thoughts, or whether they said it in with a certain agenda in mind, so you will not do it. Either way, you can be the judge of it, but from this side of the tube, my side of opinion definitely has nothing to do with a cult, because there's so many different kind of meditation, thousands maybe, or hundreds of different kind of meditation, and what it does, it really expands your horizon to know yourself better, and to know the things that you could never know better. So let's get into that. You know, first we got to understand, what do you think about our existence, like our existence in this world? Do you think we are our existence is made out of one part, which is body? Or are we something else, or a combination of? Well, it's obvious to me that we are not just a body, because if we are a body, then we are similar to, say, we are a machine. And every machine has a central processor, has a program, has a way that something that makes it operate, makes it function, makes it do what it's designed to do. So the question would be, if we are also a machine, which if we are just a physical body, then that means we are some kind of a machine. We are a being. So if we are a physical body, then where is our central processor? Don't we need something to make us work, help us work, tell us what to do, or help us to not to do something, or not to fall in the ditch, or recognize where the corners are, or like a toy on a, I don't know, on a platform? So we would need something. So where is that something? Some of you may say, oh, it's our brain. Well, okay then. If it's our brain, then there is certain kind of a activities happening that brain creates and then somehow makes the body do or not do something. So then perhaps we can say we are not just a body, we are made out of body and mind. All right? I think that's reasonable, because we need like any factory that has all these assembly lines and machineries, there is a computer room that programs all these machineries to do what they're supposed to be doing. And so we need to have our computer room. And some say this is where the computer room is, where the brain is. Okay, great. So we have a brain and we have a body. But the brain is part of the body, right? So what else is there? Because the brain itself is part of the muscle and part of the body. So what does that part of the body, the brain, create, transmit? What does it do? Whatever it does, obviously, it helps us to speak, move our fingers. So whatever it does is not by way of physical process. What it creates is not a hardware, it's software. It's not physical, it's program, like the computer center of the factory. So there are assembly lines and robots, and then there is the computer center. So I would say, and then in the computer center there are programs. So let's say then, just to make it easy for us to understand, then we are the body, there is the assembly line and the robots and arms and so on, and then computer center is the brain, and then the program is the mind, the what makes our body, orders our body, or directs our body, helps our body to understand, to function, to do things, to taste. So, in other words, in my opinion, is like mind tastes by manipulation of the tongue, and mind walks through manipulation of the legs. And then there's a relationship between this mind and the body. And so now that we have somewhat established that there is more than a body with us to be who we are and do what we do, therefore we want to know how do we treat these two parts. So our existence is in the part of mind and the body. The body, which includes the brain and the head and shoulders and hands and everything else, and the mind, which is supposed to be the program and the the invisible part. We can also refer to iceberg. When we look at icebergs in the ocean, we can see a big, huge mountain of an iceberg shown on top of the ocean, top of the water. And we say, wow, so big. And some of them are big, and some of them are small, but that's iceberg. However, there's more to the visible part of the iceberg that we are looking at. There's an invisible part, which is thousands and thousands of times bigger than what we are actually seeing on top of the ocean. And that's underneath the ocean, which is not visible. So we can also say, pretty much, just to understand the difference in the power and the abilities, our body is like the visible segment of an iceberg, of the iceberg, and our mind power and our mind role of proportion of the our total capabilities and total powers is the invisible part, which is thousands and thousands of times bigger than the visible part. So our mind is also the real power, which through its relationship with our body, we have a full life. We do things and we decide things, we learn things, and then through what we learn, based on what we learn, we have our body build something, do something, stuff like that. Talk, say things, learn languages, whatnot. So that's the simplistic way of explaining. I can go on for hours on this subject, but I want to make it very short because you're going to get tired after 30 minutes and you're not even going to listen. So I'm trying to make it short, so that's why I'm making it very, very simplistic. So don't write back and tell me, oh, mind is this. I'm just making it all simple. Otherwise, when there is a opportunity, we can get into all kinds of explanation and detailed and so on and so forth. In the meantime, just introduction. So, you notice that you go to the gym and through sporting activities and exercise, you make this body, which you're all familiar that it has to be strengthened. Because it's good for us. It's healthy, increases the blood circulation, it helps to get rid of the impurities by this activity and blood circulation, and refreshes all the neurons and refreshes all the abilities of the muscles and teaches them how to become stronger, how to develop and to become bigger. When we do weight training over time, the muscles have memories and remember how much we made it work, and the next day or a few days later, through time, it wants to be bigger, so it won't have to endure that kind of a weight with difficulty. So it learns to expand, get bigger. And in the meantime, we give it nourishments and we eat well and so on and so forth, and that has its own regimen. So if you're interested in about, how to build your body and get into serious like powerliftings and to treat your body that way with good nutrition and so on, you can always actually tune into a channel which actually it's TOOS training, TOOS training, TOOS training. It's a very good channel. It's actually run by my son, and he's a powerlifter and he has world of knowledge about techniques and nutrition and so on, and I'm sure you will, if you're interested, you can enjoy that. TOOS training. Now, so we know that we want to somehow, through our knowledge and what we have heard or seen or prefer, we like to have a maybe better looking body or a stronger body or whatever our intention or needs are. We tend to attend to our body through sports and activities and exercise and so on of different kinds, and support and strengthen our body everywhere. Okay, fair enough. Then what about our mind? Didn't we say that we are made out of body and mind? We just discussed it, and I think any reasonable person would agree that We're not just a body, we are body and mind. So what about our mind? How do we strengthen our mind? Isn't that true that most challenges in life is mental? You know, if you want to study, got to be in the mood, we got to have the focus, we got to be able to keep our patience. If we are, in a relationship, we may need to be tolerant, we may need to keep our focus and remember things or tolerate things or be patient or, stuff like that. Or if we are a parent, maybe children ask for this, for that, they want this, our attention, so on and so forth. Or these are all challenges, right? These are not physical challenges, they're mostly mental challenges. Or if you have, if you are working and you're short of money, and that's another kind of a challenge that you got to solve, things you got to pay, things you got to do. So mind has its own duties, plus the fact that we can always give the analogy of the first thing we do, we come home, some of us, we sit on the couch, put our feet up and say we want to take the load off of our feet. Well, reasonable. But most challenges that we said are mental. Schools, work, children, relationship, parents, friends, money, all kinds of things. These challenges are mental. What about taking the load off of our mind? Are we not supposed to do or provide the same kind of a comfort for our mind as we take care of our body? We sit down, put our feet up and say, I'm going to take a load off of my feet. And all we did was walk around and do stuff and okay. But our mind has been working all day long too, whether it's been the work we do or other challenges that we named, some of them. So what about taking a load off our mind? How do we do that? Well, the way we do take a load off our body and help it to endure the daily load is, first of all, we go to the gym or we go through activities and exercises and we strengthen it. So the next day or next time that we are subjecting it to these kind of loads, it won't feel the load as much because its capability is going up, so it can support itself better and it can endure that load better. So that's one thing that we do with our body. And then, of course, when we come home, we put our feet up too and rest. But we do these two things. So, doesn't that make sense that we also do the same with our mind? In other words, do certain exercises, as we do exercise for our body to make it strong, should we not learn to do exercises to make our mind strong? So you can endure all these challenges, day-to-day challenges, and every day, thousands, hundreds of challenges every day. Endure it better and become stronger. So the next time and through the, our life, it would be able to endure and support itself better and not be, be able to withstand all these challenges and pressures better. So, just like what we do with our body, we strengthen it, so we got to strengthen the mind. And then also know a way how to take the load off of our mind. Just the same way. Fair is fair. So that's where the meditation comes to the picture. There are certain exercises we do to strengthen our body, and there are certain exercises that we should know to strengthen our mind. Some say, well, we go to school. Well, we go to school, we do math. Math is learning something. It's learning a game. It's learning a process. It's like a puzzle. Learning languages, learning math, learning science. These are thinking. Yeah? It's learning, paying attention. It doesn't strengthen our mind, because you can't say someone who's a mathematician is a smart person. Well, he's smart in solving mathematical equations. But he may very well be nothing of a sort of a smartness in social manners or social behavior or social understanding or many other subjects that many of you are experts in. Just because somebody is good in math or science doesn't mean he's smart. He's smart in that field. Why? Because he's learned that game, he's learned that process, he's learned that rhythm, method. So that is no way of strengthening the mind. If you say, well, I go to school, I'm strengthening my mind. Well, you're not strengthening the mind, you're learning something. And learning is not strengthening the mind, it's becoming good at something. Okay, so how do we strengthen the mind? Well, that's where meditation comes into the picture. Meditation is a certain way, certain process, certain methods, certain rhythms, certain way of thinking or treating the mind so it can learn how to become stronger and how to become more resilient. And meditation is a way that we can take the load off of our mind, the challenge that is endured during the day. So meditation is really an exercise of life. You know, if you notice, as I mentioned in some of my other productions under the willpower, if you ask somebody what do you need to survive, they'll usually say, I need to eat, I need to breathe, and I need to drink. But they forget the fourth thing. The fourth thing is that I need to sleep. If you have all these other three but you don't sleep, well, you die. Yeah? Because what happens when you sleep, your mind enters into a certain frequency. To explain it simplest way I can, your mind enters into a certain state that it can accept and absorb the waves and the frequencies that are out there from the universe, from the nature. So when you get up in the morning, you're vigorous, you're very fresh, vigorous, lots of energy. And if you notice, if you even don't do anything, let alone going out working or exercising, whatever, but if you don't even do anything, sit on the couch at home all day long, watch TV, toward the end of the day, you feel exhausted, you feel kind of run down. Why? Because your existence, to exist, to facilitate your existence, something is being used up. Something is being used, and that's energy. And that's what we call it ki. Chinese call it qi. That's your energy. And so that means you get up, you're fresh, you do nothing but just to facilitate your existence. In the afternoon, you feel a little bit exhausted. And then you sleep again, but you get up, you're fresh again. So something happens while you're sleeping. Have you thought of it? Something happens while you're sleeping. Not just that your body rests, or you could be resting on the couch all day long, but if you don't sleep, you don't get refreshed. So what happens is that you receive energy. And that's where the mind comes into the picture. That's where the meditation comes in. Meditation is like receiving that energy without necessarily sleeping. Not that you don't need to sleep if you meditate, no. But when you're meditating, it's like you're receiving the same energy that you're sleeping. Only when you sleep, you receive a certain amount, but when you meditate, you receive a lot more. So when you combine it, while you do your sleep, great, you up, you get up, you're fresh. And if you learn how to meditate, well, you add to that freshness and the strength. And you can then use it through all other kinds of aspects of your life, which that's another story and another time to discuss. This is getting too long. I've got a lot more to say. So we'll cover some more, and watch for the willpower sections, and they will have some more of this stuff in there. But for now, this was just a way to help you understand why we meditate. And certainly far from it has anything to do with being in a cult or anything. It's just something that we human beings got to know about ourselves and how to strengthen ourselves and support our well-being, and helps our well-being and balance and so on and so forth. And there's a lot more to talk about it, all kinds of meditation and so on and so forth. And we'll talk about a certain kind later on. Hope you have a wonderful evening, and hope to talk to you soon on this subject and